Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to Talk About on Shaw TV. My name is John Twigg, and our guest for this show is Brian Shaw. He's co-chair of the Campbellton Neighbourhood Association. Brian, thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, John. Thank you everyone for having me here today.
Now, some people watching probably know what Campbellton Neighbourhood Association is, but some may not. What's the origin and history? We know Campbellton is an old part of town, but this group is fairly new.
You're absolutely right. Campbellton is in two parts. Campbellton itself is the oldest part of town. It's the part that's been used the most and is starting to look like it. When I moved into the Campbellton neighborhood in 2010, I moved the big wooden building in overnight, and it was mid-2010, late 2010, about 6 months into it, I started really looking around and saying how could it best help my business, but to help the town by developing some sort of association to improve the neighborhood, get things going.
It's kind of urban renewal, I think.
That was the whole idea. Simply bring Campbellton up to the standards of the rest of the community. Don't leave us behind, in other words, anymore, because it can be very vibrant.
Yeah. Now, some people, such as the mayor who we had on in the first show of this season, and I think I asked him about, we want to do for Campbellton, and I'm part of the association, by the way, what was done in Willow Point. And the mayor agreed, but it's actually not analogous because Campbellton has the highway entrance, whereas Willow Point has a waterfront.
And that's a very interesting point. What really brought to point how important the entranceway in this part of town is that 2 years ago, and even today, and check it out for yourself, Campbell River. If you take a look at Google, you go Google Maps, and just take the map, you'll find where the pinprint is. I ask everybody to go take a look. I'm not going to tell you, but just zoom in on Campbell River, find out where that little thing like that goes
the
to.
red dot with the point on it.
You'll get it. Anyway, so bottom line, there's a hint there that Campbellton is the center of Campbell River according to the world. And my concern at the time is that in real estate, the first impression is the most important one. 4 seconds later, you'll decide whether you want to be there or not.
Yeah, and so for Campbell River, people driving up from Nanaimo, if they miss the Dogwood turnoff there, or the Jubilee Parkway, they come in through, is it 16th Avenue?
They come down to 19A. They come through 14th, 16th, or 19A to turn right to get into Campbell River. But
and they get accosted by trucks and
trucks and somewhat and wires and a very busy area that's really not people friendly.
And no crosswalk at Peterson, for example.
Well, it's one of the issues. There's 100 issues. And I recall at our first meeting back in 2011 that there was a myriad of complaints. It was almost a complaint session. Yeah. We weren't there for that. We're not formed because of complaints. We're formed because we want to help spearhead this area of town, or have a focus put on this part of Campbell River, to make it really look good. So that's going to help out Campbell River as a whole. I really don't think that one issue should be separate from the other. Campbellton, yes, is definitely a village all in its own, and our first views were of the official community plan and found out it was sadly lacking, but we fixed that. But it's not just Campbellton, it's all about Campbell River and people's first impression of coming into Campbell River.
Yeah. 2 questions. Who is in the Campbellton Neighbourhood Association, and what are its boundaries?
There's about 90 members who have signed up to be on the emails. Let me define what the Campbellton Neighbourhood Association is. as well. I'm co-chair of the society or the association. Jim DeHart is the other co-chair. He's frequently out of town, as I am as well, and so therefore we push back and forth. But quite a few members of the community and councillors, as well as the mayor, all members. And we're open to everybody in Campbell River. This is just not a secret society to get together. You can see us regularly in the newspapers, regularly opening our doors to make sure that everybody who comes here has an opinion and can participate. As a matter of fact, if I may, just next Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Where this is airing, we're not sure exactly when, but coming up soon.
Okay, fair enough. Coming up soon on the 27th of November at 6 p.m. at the Eagles Hall, we have our next general meeting where we have a great deal of action happening right now, and you can be part of it. Come down and watch, and while you're doing it, bring down an item for the food bank. We're contributing at this time as well. But
and the Eagles is actually near that entrance, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's on the corner of 14th and Island Highway, and that's an essential part of the town. And the Eagles are a member of the association as well, so hopefully we'll see some good representation from them too.
We'll deal with the boundary in a sec, but the membership, and you mentioned that, it's an association, but I know from gone to some of the meetings that you're considering becoming a society, a formal society. How's that going? Or is it gonna happen?
We're looking at becoming a nonprofit society. We're really focused on actions to undergo an urban development plan specific for the village. So we haven't quite got around to the idea of forming a society. We're not a business society because we include all the residents in the community as well. We're businesses and citizens are all invited and all come out and exchange ideas.
Yeah, the Willow Point thing was driven mainly by business people.
Absolutely.
But the the Campbellton Association is a blend of residents and people that have businesses in the area but may not live there, and other people that are, like I don't live in Campbellton, but I represent one of the businesses that is there.
Very true.
On the association. So it is quite open.
Absolutely, and the concept of developing an urban plan has been foremost in everybody's mind. So what we did, starting the association, is try to get a feel of what to do. We're business people and we're citizens. We don't have a background in that, so we went to City Council. And we asked for their help, financial and otherwise, to get us in motion. So we set up, we were able to open an office at the bowling alley.
That's going to say, the office is located attached to the bowling alley. They have an empty space there on the front.
Right. And they, being members as well, provide a space for a small rental fee, subsidized by them, of course, and subsidized by the community, where people, where we meet on a regular basis, and where we have staff answering questions. All local residents, some from out of the immediate area, but all very familiar with the situation.
Now, there's a number of people who have actually invested a lot of time and effort, and Ross Blackwell from the city, for example, RCMP Inspector Lyle Jelena, former councillor Morgan Ostler. It's really quite a diverse group, but they are working on a common objective, I guess you'd say.
All key people, because so many different aspects of the community are being addressed.
Yeah.
It's not easy to formulate a plan. We could be flying off the handle in 100 different directions, but we're just calmly, collectively combining everything together. And that's what we did for our first year, is collect an inventory. What are all the problems in Campbellton? What are all the issues? What are all the benefits? What are all the positives? And we bundled it all up into what we call an inventory.
Well, I think Ross Blackwell deserves a lot of credit there, because he counseled the group about doing these block by block inventories of, okay, well, here's a broken sidewalk or here's a problem tree. And that was a lot of work, all volunteer. And now you have some planning students from Nanaimo. What's the story there?
That's correct, but I'm just going to deviate right back to the roots
Sure.
here. Ross Blackwell deserves 100% of the credit for forming a direction for the society, how to put together all the issues, how to direct us into what we think is a positive direction for Campbell River.
Yeah.
Ross is responsible for the official community plan. When meeting with him in the first case, in the first few meetings, he saw what the deficiencies for Campbellton and immediately addressed it, and then began to vision himself and allow others to share his vision. 100% of the responsibility for what we're doing goes back to City Hall and the time and effort that the heads of our society have done. I give everybody on council and the mayor full kudos for participating and being part of this dynamic action.
Yeah.
Now,
we're not reinventing the wheel here, but
No.
Chicago did this too, was it? Was that the?
A lot of communities.
Yeah.
We're not reinventing the wheel at all. As a matter of fact, that's where Ross got a lot of his information.
Yeah.
North Vancouver has
Right.
a dynamic plan that he used as an example.
Yeah.
But going back to part of his plan, and that was how to create a proper urban plan for a village. Ross went to Vancouver Island University and inquired of Professor Dr. Pam Shaw there, who heads up urban studies there, to see if she could get a couple of classes from her graduate classes to come down, or I think it was third-year classes, to come to Campbell River and study Campbellton as a for this type of plenary session. So that's exactly what they've done. They came down a couple of months ago.
There was a bus load of them that came up, actually.
About 20 students, bus load came up.
Here at 8:30 in the morning.
And I recall it well. It wasn't very nice, but they got a tour around from volunteers from the community. Ross and myself explained what the direction of the society was and what the direction of the community was to be. We want an urban plan.
Yeah.
Please give us some help here.
So association members went and did inventories, and now students have come in. And are they refining the same inventories or doing it over or slightly different?
Well, we're about to find out.
Okay.
Quite frankly, we've had a little bit of contact. They've only been at it for a month or two now.
Yeah.
So they're going to, on the Wednesday evening, the 27th, provide us with the first glimpse of how they're seeing Campbellton.
What's the time for that meeting, by the way?
6 p.m.
6
at
p.m.
the
I'm glad
Eagles.
I asked, because I would have assumed 7. But
Well, hopefully it'll go through 7. It won't be that short anyways. But we want to get the students back home that night too.
yes.
Apart from that, other work that we've done in this direction, we've talked to just recently Ken Blackburn, the executive director of the Campbell River Arts Council.
Yeah.
And Ken took a walk around with me about a month ago, and he has a bunch of ideas. He got together with in his official capacity, and on the same evening, he's going to make a presentation to the community as well.
Is this going to be art, sculptures or murals or both? Or?
Well, we gave him just full bore.
Oh.
Just, what do you think should go there? So it's an interesting concept to see how the two will blend. Number one, each one will educate the other. This more or less comes from one of Campbellton's directions recently.
Is this the graffiti issue?
Yeah, it was the graffiti issue. We made a little bit of a stir there. We painted up a building, and we got a lot of action. I have to admit, to reduce the amount of graffiti in the area and to have people pay attention to it in our area, and as well the rest of the town.
Yeah.
And then spearheaded in Campbell River by Inspector Jelena, as you well know, he started with us. He's been with us for years too,
Yeah.
looking at the different issues that we face, and he's been a key element. And this is one of his directions as well.
Well, we know that Campbellton has had some, shall we say, street issue problems in the past.
In past,
And they're reducing now, are they not?
I don't see anything anymore. The nicest part about that time, I've been there, 3 years now? It's remarkable. I feel more comfortable in Campbellton than in downtown Campbell
Yeah.
River.
For those that are watching that may not know, your office is kind of kitty corner to the Quinny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I do play the bagpipes, and I've been known to play the bagpipes in the Quinny from time to time, so it's a friendly spot. Don't go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
The people are good there, but we don't have any issues. The neighborhood is friendly. Businessmen are friendly. It has to be. It's a very special neighborhood.
Yeah.
We have residents door to door with businesses.
Actually, that's a good spot to interject with the boundaries. We didn't exactly get there before, but it goes, does it go as far as Haig Brown House or on the west?
Campbellton is more or less what we envision just south of the river. The essential area of it goes from the Island Highway down to, say, the Walmart area.
Ironwood, I think. The Campbell River
Even
Common.
Ironwood, you
Yeah.
take it further. But we're loose in that
Yeah.
regard.
The
People want
Homewood
to join.
area is in it too, is it?
It certainly is. Homewood, some people join us from north of the Campbell River North
Yeah.
as well. It's a
Yeah.
concept of development. Campbell
Yeah.
River North has slightly different issues, obviously, but the same issues all the same. They want to
Yeah.
be included in the collective.
Yeah.
The essence of our studies involve the streets in Campbellton proper, and everybody has a good idea where that is. But yes, over to Haig Brown House, over to Ironwood, out through the malls, up the top of the hill.
Across the river even, maybe?
Well, yeah, there's not a Campbell River North is, it cannot be excluded. Just the
Yeah.
same as up on top of the hill cannot be excluded. People want to be part of something that's growing.
Yeah.
They want to be part of Campbell River. They want to see improvements in Campbell River. They want to see improvements in Campbellton.
What's the John Hart generating station going to do, if anything, to the neighborhood association?
It's very little effect in what we're doing. As a matter of fact, all along they've been part of the focus. Campbellton itself, and this is one of the visions, is the gateway to North Island. It's the gateway to the park. It's the gateway to the hydro project. It's the gateway to Gold River and to points north. It's so there's a considered theme in there. There's we've heard the theme old Campbellton, or ancient Campbellton if you prefer. But there's a lot of different converging themes on what Campbellton should be, and how it should be treated and what we should look at. But there's no sense in putting the cart before the horse here. Find out what you got first. Find out where you can go with what you have. Infrastructure becomes part of it, and thus we're including Sue Powell's of highways and infrastructure, transportation and infrastructure, and she's been an integral part of all of this too, because she lets us know what we can do with 19A and Highway 19.
Yeah, because the Ministry of Transportation and Highways has some budget that could contribute to, say, maybe better lighting or sidewalks, I don't know.
There's different things that they put their tag on,
Yeah.
but all of what they do is we'll say, together with City Hall in Campbell River. They work side by side in all of these events. And that makes it a little bit more complicated. What can you do where highways has to become involved, or what can you do without them involved? So 19A and the highway, all these considerations. Now, Sue is the last person I've talked to about one of the newest projects we're doing, and that is the entrance way to Campbell River. There's the median, which has a pond right on the bottom of Highway 19 coming down the hill.
Is this the parcel right beside the Eagles Hall?
It's right beside the Eagles Hall, right beside the businesses there. It's the median, right before you come into 14th. And there's a nice big pond there.
Yeah.
Well, that pond nobody can see anymore. But it's been the vision of a number of residents, a number of businesses, and of City Hall to make a grand entranceway there. Welcome to Campbellton, welcome to Campbell River, with a vision, and an attractive one too, similar to that you can see down in Willow Point at the bypass. The visions are and that's where Ken Blackburn's going to come in, but different visions have been a huge salmon statue on the pond, lit up at night.
I heard there may be a picnic situation there.
I've been hearing bits and pieces on that, but I don't see why not. The area hasn't been taken care of for a long time, but just this past year I've noticed that there's been a grand effort to keep the area quite nice. There's a little entranceway, certainly a pleasant area because of the pond right there. Different things that we've got. One of the airlines is coming up with an airplane for us to be, if the community wishes to go in that direction, to stand one up on a pedestal. I think a beach aircraft that's no longer in use to be.
Is this John Caswell's work?
Absolutely, in concert with the airlines. John is a retired
aviator.
Retired aviator, knows and a resident of Campbellton.
Yeah.
And is an immeasurable energy to do what he's doing, a very bright man.
He staffs the office, I think, from time to time.
Quite frequently, it changes from time to time. He's a very eloquent, very well-spoken member of our society as well. Great volunteer, and I hope we get 100 more out like John. He's terrific.
What's the success, is the top success in your mind so far?
The top success is getting us to where we are right now.
Yeah.
We have
on TV. Talking about an event coming up.
We have the attention of City Hall.
Yes, actually, the last meeting we had the mayor and was it 2 or 3 councillors? 2 anyway.
2 councillors, but we've had most councillors have come out for information. At some time or another.
And I got to interject here and kudo to Ron Kerr. He's not only all the meetings, but he's also bashing Broome and
Ron is
advocating
an
for the
integral
Peterson,
member.
the crosswalk.
He's our member of council that works for Campbellton, and hats off to Ron. I have to admit, the mayor himself. I've seen Larry Sampson out there, Mary Story. Andy Adams has been very, very helpful, and the society certainly, the association certainly appreciates all their help and direction throughout all this, and because it's absolutely needed at the grassroots level to have that type of support.
Now the Sani station too, that was something the community association lobbied for, was it not, to get it closed and relocated?
It was just that wasn't one of the original directives, and I'll get on to our that shortly.
Sure.
Directives, but one of the residents came to me and said, this sandy dump's awful. We can't live there.
A little bit of an odor problem in the summer. This is a sewage dump, by the way, for motorhomes and
Motorhomes,
things.
right.
Yeah.
It's a sandy dump, and it's right on, 16th, 17th there? Down along, think it's, at any rate, right down in the 18 block there. But the complaint was that people would be too quick. There was a huge odor problem in the summertime, and you can bear witness to go to Google Maps again, take a look at the last Google photo, and you see 20 different RVs lining up at this sandy. It's in the middle of a residential area, and it makes living there impossible out of doors in the summertime.
Yeah, and it's not just the odor; it's also the lineup.
absolutely. There's
Yeah.
lots of problems with it. So
Yeah.
our direction was, well, why don't we just put out a petition to see how many people in the community agree with this? And within 2 days, we had over 100 signatures. We took the letter of complaint to council with a letter of support for that, and they reviewed it, seeing the support for it, agreed that this was a problem, and thought that with alternatives that we do have in town now.
Yeah, there's one up at the Quinsam Crossing,
Absolutely.
and the other one was
I think it's somewhere down in Willow.
across the bridge. Is it?
Somewhere. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but not
Yeah.
far. The whole
Yeah.
point is that it's not going to be missed. It'll
Yeah.
be a change in direction, that's all.
Yeah.
And certainly keep Campbellton a happier place to be in.
Yeah.
There are other issues, but that was more or less a knee-jerk movement of we respond to something. We want to be responsible to concerns in the community. Once again, we're not complaint-driven.
Yeah.
That was just an issue that
Yeah.
arrived. We could help. We tried. It worked. We're pleased that we could, but it just goes to show you that if that the community working together can do things and
Well,
can be quite good.
Time is running tight, but I wanted to get this in too. Your previous office was down on Shoppers Row.
That's correct.
And frankly, it was difficult to find parking. And now you're over in Campbellton, not that far away really, walking distance really. But what's the difference? Have you noticed a difference?
For us, it's a more comfortable space to work in. As you know, the building is quite
Bit bigger.
quite impressive, quite respectful of a financial institution, Mackey Research Capital. Our clients are quite happy to be there when they come in. They have lots of room to park. There's easy access through Campbellton. Campbellton's an excellent area for that because there's good traffic flow to it from several directions. That's Peterson Island Highway, the 19A route, 1460. It's very accessible, ultimately, just down from Walmart, let's put it that way. So it's a great location. I encourage all businesses to make their way down to Campbellton because it's up and coming.
Last question is your wish list. What
My wish list is that for the association is to continue to be an influence and continue to be a positive influence for the development of this rundown area of town that needs to be brought to the same, in beautification, needs to be brought to the same level as other villages in town.
and with an election coming up next fall, and the budget coming up this
I'm
next
pretty
few
sure the
weeks?
budget's already been taken care of, but
good.
I know we're there. I know we're in everybody's thoughts at council. I know everybody is concerned. I think everybody has the same idea in mind. We're all on the same team here. We just need to bring it all together in the larger scheme of things.
That's a great place to end. Brian Shaw, thank you very much for coming in. My guest has been Brian Shaw, co-chair of the Campbellton Neighbourhood Association, and we thank the volunteers for helping produce this show. We thank Shaw TV for putting it on, and we thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Shaw for future episodes of Talk About, hosted by me. Thank you very much.